Are you a mom who needs a break? You've come to the right place. Join me and other moms weekly to hear biblical wisdom and our own journey as mothers. This is Moms on Break. Thank you for taking a break today to join us here on Moms on Break. We are in part 4 of a series that you're not going to want to miss. If you've missed the first 3, I encourage you to go back and listen to Cultivating Diligence, Cultivating Contentment, Faithful Stewards, and today, part 4, we're talking about earning to give. So Christy Sweeney, thank you for joining us again to share with us.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you again for having me. Today we want to expand on the concept of stewardship. Unfortunately, this idea of stewardship and knowing how to be responsible and to manage the gifts that we've been given, this is not an innate characteristic. This is not something we're born knowing how to do. We're not born knowing that work is a gift. We talked about that in one of our previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We're not born knowing that we should be mindful of how we spend our money. And we're not born knowing we should save money, we should give, and that we should pay our tithes. As I was thinking about this topic, I know many adults who were never taught this skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really challenging. It's really difficult. So as I was thinking about this by way of parenting, I was thinking, why not help our kids learn along the way with practical lessons instead of setting them up potentially to make disastrous financial decisions as adults just because they don't know?
Wonderful idea, Christy. And I so agree with you. This is for parents as much as it is for children, because many get to adulthood and don't know how to manage their money, or their money and financial situation changes. And they have to make changes and lifestyle. And that can be tricky too. But I love your angle today being for the kids and how to help them right from the start learn some of these principles and these skills, like you called it. It's really key. It is a skill. It's something that has to be learned. So I'm excited to learn these so I can teach my kids as well.
Yes, it is a skill. And I think as with anything having to do with parenting, our example is of utmost importance. So I am very, very thankful to have had not only parents who were very, very hardworking and they set that example for me, but they also taught me how to manage the money that I received from that hard work. And so today I would like to share some practical tips of how we've been helping our children to become financially responsible.
Excellent. Let's dive in.
All right. So one of the things that my parents did for us and that we're now doing with our kids is we're giving them a monthly allowance for the chores that they help us with during, the week. So
I like that. Now, Christy, I know some people might be listening going, wait a minute, allowance, this is stuff that they should be doing just because they're part of the family. But hold on, ladies, let her keep going. That's right. And so with this allowance, they're responsible, our kids are responsible to purchase everything they need for the month. I love it.
They purchase their clothes, their shoes, everything from shampoo to toothpaste.
That's
so
great.
They're given the monthly budget. They work for their money and they are paid. Now, obviously, as parents, these are things we would be providing for them anyway. So we're, it's a trade-off. But
now, Christy, what age do you suggest starting this?
Okay, so we just started with our boys this year, and when they had their birthdays, and one turned 12 and one turned 10.
Okay.
But I don't think that 10 is too young by any means.
Okay. Well, so I have to say, I just briefly mentioned this idea to our oldest son because of talking through these things with you, and I'm going to go on Moms on Break. This is what we're going to talk about. And he got so excited just thinking, I'd really like to try that, Mom. Just because, it's really adult-like, and they want to practice to be adults. That's what they're looking to be,
Yes.
So I think it's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, my kids were both very, very excited when I told them that we were going to be doing this. And I have to tell you what happened when we first went to the store. They had gotten their allowance. They went to the store, and our oldest was like, Mom, I really need these things. He had like 5 things on his list. He wanted to get some socks, and he wanted this special kind of toothpaste, and he's interested in deodorant. So he wanted to buy some really good deodorant. Just funny things. He's 12. He's the older one. And so we went to the store, and he purchased 5 things. He went to the self-checkout, he did the checkout, he did the money thing, and he looked at me, he was like, Mom, I only bought 5 things and it was $30. I was like,
Yep. So all of a sudden, this monthly allowance doesn't look so fun.
It's reality. I mean, it's
reality,
totally eye-opening.
Right?
Yes, an entirely different perspective on finance.
Yes.
So it was a great way for us to start teaching them to budget and to save. If this month you may not need so many things, that's okay, because next month you may need shoes or a coat or something, that costs more money. So it helps them with a budget. It helps them to save for future things. And
the unexpected.
Really helps them,
yeah.
Yes, the unexpected. And it helps them to separate the needs versus wants.
Yes, because what they say they need is what, they have no idea what they say they need is really not something they need. And when their money runs out, they'll realize, oh, I guess I didn't need that. That was a want.
Yes. Yeah, we get a hand-me-down tub for my sister. She's got a couple boys that are older than my boys. And so our oldest is quite picky about what he wears and things. And so he was going through this hand-me-down tub, and he was like, I don't know about this, and I don't really like that. And this was just before we started doing the allowance thing. And so after we left the store that day, he was like, Mom, can we go back and look through that tub again? I'm like, sure.
Like, that stuff is looking pretty good because it was free and it's a blessing.
It's right. It fits the budget, right? And
exactly.
He looked at it entirely different. So it was interesting.
Okay. Now, Christy, I know you have on there. Oh, yes. You had clothes. Okay. I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
You said shoes, shampoo, toothpaste, but clothes also. Nice.
Yes, yep. So yeah, everything that they need for the month. So
that is fantastic. I love it. So they can save, like if they don't need one of those things that month, they save their money for when they do have a need, when they outgrow something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So the other thing that I would mention with this is that you can give them cash. They can go to the checkout. They can do the change and exchange money and all that, which I think is really a good, a good skill for them to learn. Right now, for our boys, what I did was I went to the bank and got check registers. And so I'm just paying for the things at the store, and then they're bringing their receipts home and they're entering them into a check register as if they had used like a debit card or written a check.
Okay.
So this is helping them, but they're a little older. They're 10 and 12. And so they're going on and they're subtracting, and then they're putting their deposit in at the beginning of the month, and then they're subtracting any receipts that they have for things that they're buying that they need. And so I thought, balancing a checkbook is a skill. And so if they can do it now when they're really not going to bounce checks, then it probably is a pretty good time for them to start getting a concept of it before they have bank accounts and debit cards and that kind of thing. So.
I love that. So at the actual register, they're paying cash, or you're just paying for it, but then they put it in their register.
I'm paying for it, and then they keep their receipts. They go home and they record it as part of their math class. They record it in their register, balance their checkbook.
I love it. How fun. Okay.
Yeah, and they enjoy it. Yeah, they're really enjoying it. So the other thing that has been really, really fun, and my kids loved to do this, they still like to do this, is that you give them a budget and you take them to the store. This is a budget for a meal. So they can sit down, look through the cookbooks. They can, Google whatever sounds good, and they pick a meal. You set the budget. You take them grocery shopping. They make the list of everything that they need for their recipe. And you take them to the store, they purchase their items, making sure that they stay within their budget. And then they get to come home, they get to prepare that meal for the family, and then do the cleanup afterwards.
Oh, that's fantastic, Christy. How
My
fun.
kids love doing
and
this.
Truly
and
helpful. Yes. Oh, that's
yes.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
it helps in so many ways. I mean, their kids they're planning. And then they're having to purchase the things that they need. They're preparing the meal. And then they're doing the cleanup afterwards. And then, if they're using a recipe while they're cooking, then they're likely using fractions. So there's a lot of different, elements that come out in this.
Oh,
and last, but certainly not least, they will definitely have a new appreciation for the hard work that goes into meal planning and preparing and cleaning up. And I remember the first time we did this, my oldest was about 7 and the youngest was 5. The first time we did this. And I remember after they had finished this first time, my 7-year-old came up to me and was like, "Mom, how do you do this 3 times a day?" So cute. But I think, it's a good perspective.
They appreciate you more.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great, Christy. Now, I wonder, I even hesitate to ask this, but can you give the moms listening an idea of a range that you should give them for a meal or for the monthly allowance? I know that's going to vary on family, but just a roundabout.
Yes. Yeah. As far as the meal goes, I kind of said, what do you guys want to make? And if they chose pasta versus something else that might be more expensive, then I would kind of base it on the pasta budget. I wanted them to have to shop and look for the deals, in order to bring the meal together. So I didn't want to give them too much. So it kind of depends on, what it is they've picked and kind of, we as moms kind of have an idea of what things run at the grocery store. So you'll give them a realistic budget, but not an abundance so that they're looking for the deals.
Okay.
When they're shopping. And then as far as the allowance goes, I think maybe some of that might be, a little adjusted as far as age goes. But for my boys right now, being, 10 and 12, right now they are getting $50 a month.
Okay.
Each. So, and that's what they're doing. And then they're having to buy everything. And so, some months they don't need as much. And then some months they're going to need, more expensive things like shoes and coats and that kind of thing. And so that's...
Sometimes do they ever put together and say, "Hey, brother, I'm going to buy the shampoo this month for both of us and you buy the toothpaste," or whatever? Do they ever do that?
Yeah, they absolutely can do that for sure. And, I hear them downstairs. And this is another thing that I hadn't really thought of ahead of time, but it was really helpful. I hear them downstairs when they're, getting ready for the day or whatever. One will ask the other, hey, do you mind if I borrow some hairspray? Or do you mind if I borrow some toothpaste? Or, and then they're very more conscious about how much of those things that they're using.
Sure.
Because they're buying it. And then they're respectful that it belongs to somebody else. Somebody else bought that with their money. You should ask before you use it. And you should use it, as sparingly as possible. So that was kind of a bonus. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, they're just figuring that on their own. Okay, Christy, we have a minute and a half left to cover what you believe is the most important part of this whole thing. So I want to make sure you have time to do that.
All right. Absolutely. I think the most important topic of all of this is teaching our children to give.
Amen.
Such a wonderful season in which to do this.
Yes.
Do you have the verse for us, Stacy, in Acts 20:35?
It's the very end of the verse. It is more blessed to give than to receive. That kind of sums it up, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. I think as Christians, we should seek for opportunities to give and to bless others.
Yes, for sure. I know this year, we're trying to go simple. Christmas doesn't need to get financially hard for anyone. It needs to be
right.
So we took some of the stockings that we have in our house and just said, "Kids, why don't you fill these up with things for somebody else this year?" And they happily did this. They were like, "That sounds fun," and they're looking for things. And I said, "That's what we're going to do for stockings this year. You're going to give it to somebody
Excellent.
else." So just things like that they can think about others rather than themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have many other ideas, Christy. A lot of people get involved with Operation Christmas Child, which is the shoebox idea. Such a fun way. You could do that for Operation Christmas Child, which goes across the ocean, or you can do it for somebody locally that's in need too.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I hate to end on such a quick note on that most important part, but we are out of time. But Christy, we hope to have you back again soon. And ladies, we hope to have you join us next time. You can find Moms on Break on Facebook, Instagram, and your favorite podcast service. Subscribe, like, and comment to be a part of all our mom talk. Moms on Break is a production of Pathway to Paradise Ministries.